What up, Bars Nation? Welcome back to another episode of the Dropping Bars podcast. I am your host, Kimron Korean, and I have with me today Mr. Perry Douglas. You'll be remember Mr. Perry Douglas from previous episodes of the Dropping Bars podcast. And today we are going to be we're going to be having a conversation about artificial intelligence and all. I know that many of you may have seen a lot of if you've been watching the news, been watching TV, been on social media, you would have seen all this talks about AI. Chat GPT is the big dog in artificial intelligence right now. There are many more artificial intelligence tools that are out there that can be used, whether it's in your business, any kind of organization, even in your personal life. However, we're going to take a holistic and deep look at artificial intelligence. Now, Perry Douglas, as we jump in, I know that AI didn't just come from anywhere. And when I look at AI here, we talk about artificial intelligence because if you remember from the last episode, you will know that Perry has a book, and his book is focused on a different type of AI, which is applied intelligence, which we're going to talk about in a little bit as well. So, artificial intelligence didn't just come from nowhere. There has been an evolution, a technological evolution, to get us to this point. I want you to talk to me about the historical context of the evolution of technology to the place where we are today.
All right. So, anyways, thank you very much. It's been a bit of a whirlwind in the last few days, with this gentleman coming out and saying that he's leaving Google because of the dangers. He's the god. They call him the godfather of AI, but he's saying he's leaving Google because AI is becoming a little bit dangerous, right? But so I looked at this thing, and what I want to give people first before we go into AI is an understanding of history and technology, right? Because I think if you could understand the history of technology, the history of economics, history of the world, you could see that AI is just another major technology that is going to change things, and you're going to be able to see how you fit in. It's a major, mind-blowing technology, but at the same time, it still is technology. So when you go back in history, let's start with the agriculture. Let's even start 2,000 years ago. So 2,000 years ago, and even more than 2,000 years ago, right? When we moved from hunter gatherers, to more sedentary societies, 3, 4, 5,000 years ago, civilizations. The only way we could have done that is through technology tools to farm. Right. So we had to farm because in the hunter gatherer days, when you go grab your food and you pick stuff from trees, you couldn't survive like that. So in order to survive, in order for communities and societies to grow, we had to be domesticated, and we had to have sedentary societies where you can farm and people can be fed. Now that how that happened was tools, from the simple hoe, and then you move forward in life, the horse pulling the hoe. So the technology of farming allowed societies to expand, right? Because you couldn't do anything if you couldn't feed yourself. And then let's just fast forward to the agricultural revolutions. A few centuries, many centuries ago, we had more technology, domesticated animals, all those type of things. Let's just quickly jump to the industrial revolutions, in the 20th, 19th, 18th century, all those things. Those revolutions was a major displacement of people, because what not major displacement of people, what it did, it moved people from more rural areas into more urban areas, right? Because now it created jobs for people. So what it actually did, the Industrial Revolution created wealth, because the people who could now, create companies, create the assembly line, do all those things, will be able to create wealth and move people from more of the rural areas to the more urban areas, the more cities. And for example, where the big industrial revolution took place was in Britain. So that's what sort of created the city of London. So technology at that point in time, the industrial revolution changed the world because people could manufacture things and create wealth. And fundamentally, as it relates to Black people, if you recall, colonization, that whole function of it, they slavery to colonization, they were to take the raw materials from the Caribbean example, and then they would use the machines that they have in the UK and places like that to manufacture, trade, and commerce. So we were left in the Caribbean from a perspective of just people given free resources, and then the city of London and places like that would take those raw resources through an industrial revolution process, manufacture, create extraordinary wealth. Okay, so history or technology has always been a changer. So if we go through the electronic revolutions in the 60s and 70s with the Asian tigers or whatnot, the internet, all of that changed. The internet changed banking. You always have to go into the banks in order to change a check and do this. I don't know when was the last time I've been in the bank. The online banking over the last 10, 20 years has changed a lot of things, cost jobs. Now, all we are experiencing is a revolution in intelligence, where intelligence could do some of the mundane things that, at a much cheaper cost to the organization, the company, or whatnot. So industrial revolution is just hyperspeed, okay, in order to do tasks, programmed to do tasks. So, for example, if you're calling on the phone, if you're calling online banking or whatnot, you're asking all these questions, you're asking all these prompts. You don't need, maybe back then, let's say you need 1,000 people on the phone, but maybe you only need 100 now, right? Because you can use technology. So as technology gets more intelligent, it will definitely replace people's jobs. So I want people to, I'll just wind it down, but from a historical perspective, technology has always been an agent of change. And those of us who can thrive through technology are the ones who understand technology and how to position themselves with technology so they can use it to enhance their value, as opposed to being afraid of it in terms of taking away jobs, that type of thing.
Yeah, because that's what.
Yeah, most important to understand the history of it.
Yeah, we need to, because that's one of the things. Because we're seeing a lot of conversation happening around this new technology now, artificial intelligence, but not realizing that, okay, while there is opportunity to, why are we gonna have jobs being displaced and jobs being taken away? We also are gonna see all like new jobs pretty much being created as a result of this, because like you rightly stated, whenever we had a technological change, we had job displacement in one area and job creation in another area. Let's take a look at you spoke about farming, right? When the tractors came, the guys who were working on the farms, they were like, oh my God, the tractors is here, they're gonna take our jobs. But then that what the efficiencies from the tractor created new industries that created new jobs in other areas. So I do see that there's going to be new jobs and so being created as a result of that. However, we need to prepare ourselves for the jobs that are going to be created as a result of artificial intelligence. Now, before we start going deeper into job creation and so, I wanted to step back a little bit, because I know that so you authored a book called that focused on applied intelligence. So it's another form of AI, applied intelligence. So talk to me about any parallels that there are between your applied intelligence and the explosion of artificial intelligence that we're seeing today.
Yeah. So artificial intelligence, is simple technology that's based on data. So big databases, and they're programmed, to learn and do tasks, right? So that's a pure technology. Applied intelligence is what I created, is essentially a concept, a process. It's a proprietary process. I have an equation for it and everything like that. But applied intelligence combines the use of artificial intelligence, machine learning, with human intelligence, right? because and what we do by combining the artificial intelligence, we can get information really, really quickly. We can get information really, really fast. And then that information can be processed by the various algorithms or the engines that are within. And then what we do, the applied intelligence is the application of human intelligence to make the executive decisions that the machine feeds you. So
Right.
so what we do believe and understand that irrespective of AI can't do everything, right? AI can't do everything. It's not smarter than humans at this point, even though this guy's afraid that it will get there. So
Mhm.
we think that we are looking for a society where we can use technology, because technology is just a tool, AI is just a tool. We can use that tool to do things quicker, faster, at a lower cost, be more accurate. And the whole thing about applied intelligence is to focus on factual information. Because what is AI? AI is just data that's
Mhm.
processed to do particular tasks. So if we can get the data, okay, and apply that data to the problems or the complex problems that we have, okay, but then use human intelligence as the executive decision maker to finalize a strategy or whatnot, that's really what applied intelligence is. So it's simple. It's applying human intelligence, okay, to complex problems and using the hyper speed, the hyper computing power of artificial intelligence, data science, machine learning, to give the decision maker, or the person doing the task, the best opportunity to get the best outcome possible. That's
Right.
really my applied intelligence is.
So I'm getting the sense then that we spoke about artificial intelligence
Mhm,
is gonna displace jobs and create new ones,
mhm.
and I'm getting the sense that your applied intelligence can be the competitive advantage that you
Yes,
need to
yes,
not be displaced by artificial
yes.
intelligence.
And you know what? Beautiful, beautiful. Let me take that in for a minute. You broke that down. You broke that. You should drop the mic, man.
Yeah,
Oh,
what this is not dropping bars.
yeah, dropping bars. You're dropping bars today. Yeah, but that's exactly it. Because what applied intelligence does, okay, it helps you build strategy, okay, so you can retain and enhance your value. So, for example, one of the things that we are doing now, we are engaged in the process of building software for our next stage after my book is we're building software to empower people.
Right.
Okay. So what the concern now, so let's put it this way. One of the applications that we're going to have in our software, applied intelligence software, which is formerly called AP3, right? So one of the things we're going to have is that looking into the Caribbean. The Caribbean right now has a problem. A, they're way behind in regards to technology and digital transformation, and B, you can't just everybody wants to talk about digital transformation, but you can't just go and transform the region from this manual state. What are you going to do with all these people?
Yeah.
Right? We're on an island. What are you, and then you're going to have bigger problems if you have people unemployed and poverty, those type of things. So what AP3 does, applied intelligence, software, it empowers people, okay, to build capacity, okay, in order to build transformation. But you know, the, the human is still irreplaceable, right? Now, don't get me wrong. Some jobs that are redundant, okay, are going to be taken away. But what you said before, quite rightly, new jobs, better jobs, higher paying jobs is going to show up, and the applied intelligence is going to allow you to enhance your value to your employer. So, for
Right.
example, so you would be able to do things quicker, faster, with more accuracy by using the machine side of AI, or of applied intelligence, and then you, as the executive decision maker, will make the final decision on strategy. But you can rest assured that the decisions you're making, right, has been processed through real information, real intelligence, so you can pretty much be very, very, very sure. And from a risk management perspective, if you're making decisions based on factual information as opposed to intuition or emotion, okay, you have a greater probability of success. So AP3 software looks to empower real people to make change and put it in their hands. And one of the problems that we have in the Caribbean is that we have become dependent on foreign aid agencies, the UN, all those agencies with the neoliberal agendas that are telling us what to do. The big consultant firms, okay, the Price Waterhouse and all that. So what is actually happening? Okay, they have hollowed out government and they've hollowed out businesses because all these so-called advisors and consultants who know nothing about the subject matter anyways are coming and telling us what to do. But from an entrepreneurial perspective, all societies have always grown from the bottom up. That means we have to be entrepreneurial. We have to do it ourselves. That's how we create entrepreneurship. That's how we create wealth. So what the applied intelligence, proprietary system does, accompanied by our software in development, it will enable people to do it. Because think about it. What does the big consultants do? They had a control on all the information. So what did they do? They would basically go look up the information and come give it to you. Why can't you do it yourself? They look up the information, okay, because they protect it. But now with ChatGPT, OpenAI, databases or whatnot, you can go get the information you want. You'll be able to customize the prompts. Go get the information you want in order to build the strategy you want. So you're not at a disadvantage because instead of you're cutting out these consultants now because you can get it yourself and you can process strategy yourself and you can be more valuable, be more entrepreneurial to your organization, to your government, to your country. So AP3 is an empowering piece of software, and AI is an empowering tool and software also in terms of what we're building out.
And that's critical because at the end of the day, you still need a human, a person that is gonna come up with the prompt. Somebody needs to enter that prompt into, let's say, the artificial intelligence, whether it's ChatGPT or whatever.
Yeah.
Somebody somebody has to think about the strategy, the approach. Somebody has to come up with had to be creative.
Yes.
To come up with the approach and say, okay, well, this is what we want to do. I'm going to enter that into ChatGPT, and then I have to still take the output from ChatGPT and match that output to what I want to accomplish. Because as we know, the AI is programmed by us, by humans, which means that AI have an inherent bias based on the person who is training that AI. So which means that the data that we're getting back could potentially be biased data, which means that they still need that human element to go in and check the data, make sure it's good to go, it's what you want before going out there. So that again creates that need for the human element. Now let's talk strictly now about artificial intelligence. Right now, I have been telling some of my clients I have a workshop coming up, a social media and AI masterclass where I'll be teaching entrepreneurs, business people, and so how to use artificial intelligence in the social media marketing and just overall marketing strategies to create content, because most of the AI that I'm going to be focusing on is generative AI, which is used to create content. So writing captions for social media, writing blog posts, and so on and so forth. But AI can be much more than that. Now, while we know that the artificial intelligence like the ChatGPT, your Midjourney, whatever other AI that's out there, can be used as generative AI to create content. Some people are actually writing ebooks with AI. People are writing reports and just doing all sorts of things with AI. LinkedIn posts, again, people are writing scripts for videos, press releases. Like there's a plethora of things that you can do with AI.
Yeah.
However, so that's on one side, and that's a good thing. But
Mhm.
AI is there are much more considerations that we have to look at when we're talking about artificial intelligence. So what would you say are some of the things that we need to pay particular attention to, not just looking at the the fancy sort of what you call the fancy output of, okay, well, I can write a blog post, 1,000 words, AI can do that for me, and all I have to do is go and post it. There
Yep.
are other parts of artificial intelligence that we need to look at.
Mhm.
What would you say are some of the broader considerations surrounding AI,
Well,
especially coming from what the gentleman from Google had to say when he left Google, the AI team?
now, very good question. But before I answer that question, you you made a good point. I'm not sure if you're aware of making that point. So the course that you're doing, for example, right? Everybody should probably who wants to do these things should take your sign up for your course because what you are the creative expert. AI can't be you, right? So by at first that creative person like yourself have to organize people, put them in there. You have to sell them. You have to get them in there, right?
Mm.
So that creative strength that you have is going to become more valuable in the future because what you should be focusing on to answer your question is to focus on the things that AI can't do,
Yes.
right? So what you're doing, AI can't do, and that's value. So in my book, I have a section called the C2 people, C to the power of two, the creative content people. And I give you analysis that in the future of work, the content creators, the creative people are going to be of more value than the technical people. So the people who are maybe the engineers, the technicians, um, you know, whoever, analysts, stock analysts or whatnot, the machine can do it better and the machine
Right.
can more speed at a fraction of the cost. So the people who are highly specialized, right, their value will go down because AI can simply do it better. A person like yourself, who's the creative content creator, okay, you're gonna have value because when you create that content, all you're gonna do is just gonna go to AI to speed it up and make it better and be
Right.
faster.
Yeah.
So AI becomes super valuable to a person like you, and it enhances your value. The person
Exactly.
It enhances your value. So the person who is not who is technical, right? For example, I think with radiologists, with heart scans and all that, AI can do it better. So instead of getting an opinion from this doctor, that doctor, the AI is pretty accurate. So with things like that, less humans, because simply as long as AI can do it better. So one of the things though that people have to worry about is but also from a danger, okay, because there's always two sides.
Yes.
like life
Exactly.
is not that easy. If it was that easy, we'd all be rich, right? The other side you have to be careful of is that if everybody has access to the same technology, right? If everybody has access to Chat GPT, and everybody's in a competitive space, and blog writers who write about nature, for example, and they're gonna use AI to write about nature. Well, guess what's gonna happen? It's gonna sound exactly the same as
Mhm.
somebody else. So you're not gonna be able to differentiate yourself. And soon people are gonna be, and they're already developing software to figure this out. Soon people are gonna figure out what's synthetic, right? Done by AI or what's real. Okay. So my caution is AI is not going to, the people who understand technology and the value of technology and the content, the creators, the creative people, the innovators, the entrepreneurial people, they will do the best in the future because they have that particular skill, their creativity, and that's worth something. And all they're doing is just using AI. It's a program using AI to maybe speed things up, enhance it. But you will be we're going to get to a point where they might it's like processed foods, right? Everybody now is like, hey, there's dangers in eating processed food. We want the wholesome, the real, the pure food. So you may get to the point where it'll be marking synthetic or pure, like the human, right? So
Right.
the sweet spot the sweet spot for applied intelligence is to still have the human, the creative human, okay, and use the machine to do the grunt work, to do the that type of work.
Yeah, the
So
heavy lifting, eh?
yes, exactly, heavy lifting. So my AI applied intelligence is a sweet spot and a balance. If you believe that, hey, you're going to use AI, you're going to do this, you're going to no, because if everybody is doing the same thing, it has no value. And I give this analysis all the time. In order for let's look at art. People talk about, oh, AI can paint or whatnot. A Van Gogh can only be a Van Gogh because it's a Van Gogh. It's a human. And I wrote an article about this the other day. The value is in the experience of that human and how he sees the world and what he's painted. But if everybody could just go chat GPT or whatever and do a painting, that has no value because everybody can do it.
Right.
Everybody wants an original. Nobody else can paint like a Van Gogh because of what he brings to the table, or whoever, whatever art. So the value is in the originality of it, and there's only one person, and people are buying into the art and the experience. But if you just think you can, oh, I'm going to just use, artificial intelligence to do paint and become a great painter, that's ridiculous because everybody can do it. The most important thing in business to understand is what's your value proposition? What's your unique value proposition? If you do not present a unique value proposition to the world, then you have no value. So you have to think about using, artificial intelligence. That's the whole thing about applied intelligence. By using artificial intelligence as an augmenting of your existing talent and your value and your innovative self. So it's not again, it's not that easy. Nothing is that easy. Nothing in life is no free lunch.
Yeah.
No free lunch
Yeah.
anyway. Yeah.
So yeah, talk to me. No, one of the articles that I read that you spoke about the relationship between AI and race,
Yes.
and that's a very interesting concept. That's a very interesting principle to look at. So talk to me about this relationship between AI and race, and I mean, we know that in today's digital landscape, the new oil that we're looking at is data or data.
Right.
One of the challenges or one of the problems that people have been outlining as it relates to artificial intelligence like ChatGPT is, how is our data being protected? Now, Italy had banned ChatGPT for a while because they were not sure how the data was being used and how their citizens' data were being protected. Now, sometime last week or whenever, Italy allowed ChatGPT to start operating in the country again because of some concessions that were made by OpenAI. Just yesterday, I saw that ChatGPT actually unleashed or they released it's an incognito mode where you can go in and check mark and turn off a button within the tool to tell it, okay, do not save my data or whatever the case is. So we know that data is the new oil. That's what everybody wants, and we know who has data has the control. Now, in your article, you made the argument that the AI game and the people who are invested in AI, there's a power play. It's a play to really gather the data, but you also made a comparison between race
Yes.
and the artificial intelligence. So talk to me about that.
Yeah. So thanks for reading that article, because I think where you're going is where people do not understand what is actually happening. So Hinton, the guy who left Google, and talked about the dangers of AI. If you read, and I encourage people to try to get online and read what he's saying or listen to the video of his interviews, what he's saying is that there are humans who are writing the algorithms. Okay, so there's a human behind this. So once somebody starts to program, and what AI really is it's machine learning.
Yeah.
Because excuse me, because what happens from, and the thing is, he says it too, a lot of people don't actually know how it works. Right? They put the algorithms together, but they just don't even know the math or actually how it works. That's very true. And that's a danger. They don't know how it works, right? So once somebody programs this, okay, and the machine starts to learn, we don't know where the machine itself can take over and make decisions, and who knows where it's going, because the machine is the base that the machine is coming from. The more it learns, it still has to have a base. So the people that are writing the algorithms are extremely important. So this guy has come out of Google, holier than thou, saying, he created all this stuff, but he's leaving because it's dangerous. But people don't know, a black woman, right? Dr. Gerber, I believe, I forgot her first name, but Gerber is her last name, a black woman. She was she's PhD in data science and AI, and she was the chief ethical scientist or something like that for Google. And she left Google about 4 or 5 years ago. And the reason why she left is because she said Google was essentially writing out black people of existence. Because if you go in and type into Google successful person, you're going to see a white person, probably a white male, right? So the machine is not being given data objectively, and the machine is the people who write it have natural biases, and those biases seep through in your writing. When you read my writing, even though I'm scientific, you will notice my biases. You will notice what my positions are, even though it's scientific. The same thing is technology. All technology is, okay, it reflects us. It reflects ourselves, right? So the people write, I wrote in the article, if all the people writing the algorithms are white guys in big tech, then that means big tech and white guys are going to control our world. And what that means for black people, and particularly, people in the Caribbean, is that in AI, you don't exist now as a black person. You don't exist because there's no balance, there's no diversity, there's no nothing, and that's harmful. So for the machine starts to run wild, you become irrelevant as a people, right? Because there's nobody there putting in, hey, somebody has to say, okay, successful black people. Somebody has to program the machine. It could be a black person, white person, Chinese person, or whatnot, tell the machine what to do. But if the people are writing it, are white guys, chances are their biases are going to seep in. So the big risk right now with AI, if black people are not involved, okay, if black people are not invested in technology, if entrepreneurs are not trying to build tech companies, we are not going to be at the table.
Right.
Okay. And if we're not at the table, we have no influence. And if we have no influence, okay, we have no power. And if we have no power, we become irrelevant. Remember, economics is not a morality play, it's a power play. So we have to be super cognitive. And one of the Naval Harari, one of the big thinkers, wrote the other day, data is oil. He wrote about data colonialism. So, for example, we risk, we've gone from slavery to colonialism, okay, to where we are now in neo-colonialism, where the likes of the UN and development banks or whatnot control the money, and they give it to us and to develop, and they tell us what to do. That's neo-colonialism, they control. So now, the risk now of everything done, by big tech, and it's controlling the universe, we now in the Caribbean, we become, data, it's colonialism in the sense that they're just telling us what to do. They're directing our lives. They're directing our culture. They're telling us how to behave. What do you think Facebook is, right? Facebook is the predictor, okay? And that's why Facebook, searches for likes or whatnot. But who feeds that is key. And one of the big things in elections in the United States, right? AI, based on who's controlling that, can, Donald Trump pretty much won the election by Putin and his guys, putting all these negative things out there from Hillary um, and all that kind of stuff. So this is the danger. So if you don't control, or if you don't have a say, or if you don't have a seat at the table in the development of technology, you are going to suffer by it. So we need to first understand this, and we need to change our mindset to be in areas and professions, okay? And we need to be teaching our children more. We need to remove a lot of the colonial things that we're teaching, even in universities and whatnot, and try to now teach the things that and the skills and the understanding of technology that kids are going to need in the future. Because if not, we will be wiped out. We will become irrelevant to the world, and we will go back to which is what's happening now. Because the rest of the world is moving forward, build back better. And if the pandemic didn't tell you in terms of the vaccine, right? All the Western nations got the vaccine, and then they will share the vaccines to the South. And the vaccines are not good or whatnot. It's all man for
Wow.
you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting look at it, because initially I hadn't looked at the AI in that way, and after I read the article, I'm like, oh, that's an interesting new spin on it. Now there is something kind of going back to something that we were speaking about before. No, you referenced in one of your articles the 5 ways to future proof
Yeah.
your career in the
Yeah.
in the age of AI.
Yeah.
I just want to talk about those ways that so that anybody who's listening. So I'm good. So the first one that you had was the first one, and this was a Harvard Business Review article. The
Yes.
first one spoke about avoiding predictability, right? So what's your take on that part? How do we use this concept of avoiding predictability to help us future proof our career in the age of AI?
Yeah. So what we have to understand, right, is that AI is a predicting tool, right? It doesn't really generate any insights. Think about it. Can't think on its own. It's not human. Okay. So what it generates is whatever has been programmed into it. Okay. So it doesn't generate into it. So the key is it's an aggregating predictor of language based on prompts. So what you put in there, it will predict this is what you're talking about based on prompts. If you can't take everything AI says as true, because one of the things we do know, it makes a lot of mistakes. One of the founders of AI, professor at Stanford University, basically said AI is the best bullshitter ever created. What it does, it just predicts based on what has been programmed. So if you do not actually know the subject matter, okay, and you listen to everything that the prompts tell you, and it comes up with, ChatGPT comes up with, there's a lot of danger in there for you, right? You can end up looking very. So the whole point is that we still have to, that's the whole thing about applied intelligence. You still have to incorporate human intelligence, right, into things. So that's really what we have to be careful. So we just have to be careful of not getting carried away. We have to understand truly what AI is. It's an augmenting tool that, if you use it properly, can enhance your value, right? But you still have to do work.
Right.
You
Exactly.
still have to,
And no, the next two we had, like, what, honing on the skills that AI tries to imitate. Then it speaks about just reading from the thing here, double down on the real world. But the one I really I want to kind of just talk to you about, or just get your insights on, is the last two, which this one says, and this is something that's I mean, it's personal to me. It speaks about investing in your brand,
yes,
right? Investing in your brand, and you said it. You said it before. You said the people who are more the technical kind of task driven people, they are the ones that are going to be essentially replaced by AI because they now become a commodity that AI
Yes.
can replace. So which means that when you invest in your brand, you want to ensure that you are not a commodity, that you're not something that AI can just easily replace. So talk. Let's talk about that part a
Yeah.
little bit, and then I'll ask about talk about the last one.
Yeah. So, for example, let's take yourself. So you have a unique. So you're in social media. But what you bring to the table is your personal brand, your experiences, your background, your race, all those things. So you have a very unique perspective, and you may have a very unique perspective of the type of clients that you want to help, or you may have a unique perspective on, on certain things based on your background. So that's the whole point of doubling down on what AI can't do. AI can't have human experiences,
Right.
right? So the human experiences, and we are social people, and people connect through experiences. So what we're saying here, what I'm saying here in the article is, do the things that AI tried to imitate. Do the
Right.
things that are authentic, which are human. AI can't do that. The big mistake you could make is trying to compete with AI. You can't compete with a machine for processing.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
but AI can bring what you bring, right? And I can't bring what you bring, and vice versa. You may not be able to bring what I bring, and that's who you are.
Right.
Okay, AI can't do that. So if you can bring that to the table, right, and just use AI, again, to just gather factual information to speed up processes and all that, but you stay in control of your brand and your value, okay, and develop your expertise in your industry. People recognize you for that. And still, people want to still deal with people. There isn't any evidence that people want to do. There's certain things that people just want to do online and do over the phone or whatnot, right? Fine. But there's certain things which are technical or whatnot, but there's certain things that people want human experience to chime in. And the fact is, if we're dealing with social media, if we're dealing with a whole bunch of things, human experiences, we want that. So build on your experiences, build on your background, and that is your unique value proposition, and that is your brand. And that brand is your money maker or your career maker, your future maker. Okay, because AI can't do that. So just do the things that AI tries to imitate.
Yeah, and you actually the last one that it says how to future proof your career in the age of
Yeah.
AI, you pretty much mentioned it as part of the what you were talking about before when you said, we need to develop recognized expertise in our industry.
Yeah.
Because you said that before, at the end of the day, even if the AI gives an output, somebody has
Yes.
to check it. So you still need to go to the expert and say, hey, so we
Yes.
did this, the AI checked it, but we want to ensure, because like I said, the AI can make mistakes. For example, ChatGPT only has data up to
Correct.
September 2021, I believe, right?
Yes.
So it doesn't have any new information beyond that. So and it does tell you, the AI does tell you when you sign up for it, that hey, this is a artificial intelligence, language model, whatever, and some of the outputs that is going to be given you may or may not be correct. So developing that recognized expertise in your industry is another great way to future proof your career. So again, to everyone who's listening, who's thinking, oh, artificial intelligence, AI is here, it's going to take over, it's going to take over our jobs, we're going to be replaced or whatever. All is not lost. You can use the AI to add value to yourself. But if you want to sit there and say, oh well, AI is here to take over, then it just might take over from you. Like if you decide to sit back and just decide you're gonna let it take over, then it just might take over from you. But it's up to us to be the ones to actually use the AI to supercharge us as individuals, as entrepreneurs, employees, whatever we are. So Perry, as we come to the close of this episode, is there anything else that you want to add as we talk about AI, and in this case, both artificial intelligence and applied intelligence? Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I would just like to, I'd just like to say that in the age of fast moving technology, in the age of new concept, don't just rely on social media or what trends say or whatnot. try to do a little bit of research, try to do a little bit of reading, try to educate yourself, because knowledge is the most empowering thing you can have. Try to learn for yourself, figure it out for yourself, and understand, okay? Understand that if you can understand how to work with AI to enhance your value, that's really what you want to do. But if you're going to live in fear that, oh my God, AI is going to replace me, you're just anxiety, and it's gonna drive you crazy. And one of the things I'm saying, and even in the Harvard report, and I'll just sort of end with that. I'm just going to read it from my article. It does say that even if AI performs first draft functions, its output still has to be double checked by a trusted and reliable source. That means intelligence, right? So this is the whole thing about applied intelligence, right? Applied intelligence, it still requires human executive decision making, and we believe you can't get away from that, right? We believe you can't get away from that. So that's what I would leave. I would say do your research, do your thinking, don't live in fear, and just you'll roll into the 21st century, or roll into this, and you'll do very well into it if you're proactive on it.
Absolutely. And that's a great way to wrap up this episode of Dropping Bars. Bars Nation, we were speaking there with Mr. Perry Douglas, author and entrepreneur. You can check out his new book, Applied Intelligence. So hold on, is the book available right now for purchase?
Yes, the book is on Amazon, so you can go on Amazon, and you just type in my name, Perry C. Douglas, AI Applied Intelligence, and it's there. It's $34.50 Canadian, and I think it's 20 something US, if you're in the US or elsewhere. But yeah, go on the site, buy the book. A lot of the things that we're talking about now and that's coming out now is actually in the book. So I'm saying to myself, great. I'm a little bit ahead of the curve.
Nice chihuahuas.
I don't know. I'm just, what? I like to think, and I just like to have systems of thinking. So yeah, please go out there, buy the book. Remember, I self-published this book myself. So, everything goes to me. So, that's the way you should do it, right? The technology is available out there. So yeah, the book's available on Amazon. AI Applied Intelligence, Applied Intelligence, a renaissance in new thinking for Caribbean prosperity in the 21st century.
So thank you very much, Perry. And Bars Nation, thank you again for tuning in to another episode of Dropping Bars. My name is Kimron Corian, and I will see you next week for another episode. Ciao.
Yo, a brighter star representing Dropping Bars with Kimron Corian. It's all about life lesson in a youth. Bob Marley do it with him mouth, Zidane do it with him foot. Never doubt yourself, never lose the focus. Just some more positive content, fully provision. Good meditation, dropping bars and I build the motivation. Yo, Kimron Corian, every ghetto youth, them a pre-elevation. Stop carry feelings, focus on the arts and craft. Get rid of all malice and dirty art, youth. Work hard, believe in your dreams. These are the motivation tips, dog. Success strategies. Energy follow energies. Negative follow negativity. There is a free will to creativity. It's a journey within. Cause we dropping bars, dropping bars, dropping bars. We keep going hard, going hard, going hard. We keep dropping bars, dropping bars, dropping bars. Dropping bars, dropping bars. We keep going hard, going hard.